Fed truths today because we're going to end a little bit early and I'm going to talk about that. But here's the thing, guys. What we want to do is we want to share the real truths, the marriage truths that you're not shown all the time. You are shown bad examples. Let's quit. Let's end our marriage. You should leave because this is so toxic, blah, 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 blah. And we have a different perspective because we had one heck of a terrible first 4 to 6 years of our marriage. And we turned it all around. Now we're living the lifestyle. We were lit up, and it wasn't easy. Along the way, we had financially we were drained. The abuse should have been worse, but actually, that's when we started to really change and say things. So let's get into it a little bit. So today, I really wanted to start. Now, remember, you can send your questions in, and we'll start to get to them. We're meeting a lot of people that are very interested in our programs, and a lot of you are welcoming. I want to welcome you on because you're going to be asking questions. At least that's the impression I was under from some of our DMs if we didn't handle it in the DMs. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about commitment, and I'll tell you why. Let me preface it a little bit. I'm not going to talk about you should stay committed to your marriage here, by the way. I know that's might be thinking, where are you thinking I'm going? You should stay committed to marriage. But basically, yeah. But basically, well, it's worth it. Okay?
It is worth it.
We made it. All right. So here's why. The thing about, let me preface it. Sorry. So the thing is, we're doing 6 courses right now. And Catherine, well, actually, I should say we're doing 4 courses right now. We're always trying to learn.
I have so many on the go right now.
Oh, really? Well, at least the ones that we're working on sort of together and intertwining with our systems and stuff. I guess in 2 of mine are more like challenges for courses I recently took. So I don't know if you quite call that a course, but
whatever. We're always learning and growing.
Yeah. And what did that mean? That meant for us, like we had to make some sacrifices. We committed to no Netflix for 90 days, for example. We did like a lot of.
Is it 90 days we committed to?
Well, we didn't actually put a date, but I did. And
I love Netflix.
there's just a lot on the go right now. Now, the second reason I bring it up is this, because when you apply to work with us, to join our programs, we got to see that we're a good fit. We need to feel with a certain level of certainty that we can help you and that you want help. And one of the things that we start that do you want help process when we kind of dig in is, are you committed? And a lot of people come back with a commitment level that is, I'm in, but I'm not all the way, and they'll qualify it, right? I'm not actually a 10 out of 10 or a 12 or whatever. I'm only an 8 or I'm a 5 because, and what they follow that with is they're saying in some version of I'm discouraged or she's not or he's not, blah, 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 blah. And whatever the reason is. And it could be it could be they're not taking responsibility. They are full of crap. I don't really care. Okay. What I want you to understand is this. You will not make a change unless you are 100% committed, because everything that we teach you and anything that you should try to learn, it's not the big goal. Let's use something simple. Everybody wants to make money. You're not going to make money by just being committed to making money. You need to be committed to all the little processes that go in between, like us not watching Netflix right now. We had to make other sacrifices, other changes. We had to work our calendar a little bit. That was a commitment to a schedule change, right? And so you have to understand that if you really want to make a change in your marriage, the collection of habits and skills that you have, the reason why you're resonating with the content that I share or my wife shares or we share together is because your skills suck or you don't have enough. And that's okay. We were there. That's those first 4 terrible years I was talking about. And certainly a lot better over the next 2 years. But until we started to fine tune our skills and being committed to ourselves and what we were learning. And then there's the next step where you're bringing it together, that 4 stages of marriage that I always talk about, right? Well, without that determination, you're not going to get there. If you are relying on your partner to fulfill the missing gap for commitment, I don't want to say this too loudly, but maybe you should consider having a different kind of talk about the commitment in your marriage. Because if you're waiting for them, you're not committed. And so you're blaming your partner, knowing this foundational question. You're not committed to learning. You're not committed to the marriage. And you're blaming your wife if you're the man, or you're blaming your husband if you're the woman, and you're answering the question like that. So I want to challenge you today, guys. You don't have to take 4 courses. You can take one program, and if it's not with us, I have a post that's coming out tomorrow and I talk about ownership and responsibility. That's great. A lot of guys come to me and they've read some books. Great. Way of the Superior Man, fantastic book. Extreme Ownership, fantastic book. I listed off, look for the post tomorrow. I listed off a bunch of other skills and it's not even complete. I'm only limited by characters. It's not even complete. If you don't have all the skills, what good is it? And if you're not owning it and controlling your level of commitment, again, have a different talk with your spouse, guys. So I'd love to hear some of your feedback on that if you're interested or not. I'm not sure if anybody that's on right now is actually, maybe you're all super committed. That's why you're here on a live. Maybe you're the wrong crowd for this right now.
I just want to say,
Mhm.
I am so proud of you for taking all the courses you're taking.
Thank
You guys
you.
don't know. It was always, he didn't understand because I'm a perpetual.
Yeah, she's also getting, like in a month from now, getting another master's. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm a perpetual student. Yeah, that's really exciting news that we haven't announced to you guys, but
Oops.
no, that's okay. You can announce it. It's just exciting news.
I thought we talked about it. That's good.
We might have. I don't really think we did.
Sorry. I interrupted.
Anyway, super proud because this is my non-student husband who didn't really understand why I kept wanting to go to school and why I kept spending money on courses. And he said he was very supportive. Like I was married when I did my first master's degree. Very supportive. Never talked about the money, never complained about any of it. With all the fights that we went through, we never fought about money. I don't know how we didn't, but we never fought about money. We never fought about education. He just didn't understand why I wanted to do it. And now he's doing so. Now It's so funny. If you could rewind the clock to some of the nice stuff in our background and just look at like how you were pretty respectful about the education for the most part.
Yeah, and I didn't.
You just did not like it.
No.
You didn't understand it.
But
it didn't cause a lot of fights.
Ironically,
I'm really proud of you because now you're doing things.
I just nonstop learning since, I wanted to say about marriage. Actually, the very first coach that we spent money on was quite expensive and like 6 figures. And that's what changed my mind. So actually, this is a good segue into, this happens for women, but I mean, I see this all the time. I specifically work on this with guys that enter my program. One of the qualities that men suffer with when you're having these kinds of issues, you can't communicate, you can't get along, you're just glorified roommates, you can't get the bedroom to change, like blah, 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 everything that we fix, okay? One of the qualities that most of the men have is being afraid to ask for help, ironically, because they come to me for help. What that means is they're upping that commitment level that we just talked about and looking for help, but it's a major drawback. And so that's exactly why. I thought school was a joke, and I still don't love school. I like coaches. I like putting pieces together from everything else that's out, blah, blah, blah. I like the puzzle and coming up with my own innovative systems and whatever. But pardon me?
It's all school.
But it is. It's all learning is the point.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to be in the building of school.
No, it has to serve its purpose.
He loves school now. He's just pulling your leg.
It's like, well, still not school, just learning.
Pulling everybody's leg.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not going to go get a degree right now, if that's what you mean. That's all I'm saying.
You have a degree of life.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, so if you can let go of the quality of asking for help, and by the way, let's just go through a couple examples for some men. So, for example, like I'll have guys come to me and they haven't initiated sex with their wife in years. And it's because they have a lot of different reasons. And one of those reasons is it's sort of like asking for help. Now, I don't really prefer that as a great example, but it's something that comes out if you're doing like the therapy approach. Okay. One of my mentors would talk about that. But another way would be just like, being frustrated with something that's going on in the house. Like, when people complain about the small shit, right? Instead of just saying, hey, can we do this together? And maybe you're talking about the dishes. You know what I mean?
The toilet paper roll. I thought for sure you were.
I decided not to go toilet paper roll because I felt like it'd be asking for help with a toilet paper roll is not.
Yeah, honey, can you please help me and put your fucking toilet paper rolls in the garbage?
I mean, that's how I might have used to say it, but now I would grab your butt and say, can you help me? And I'd be like,
ooh, I have your butt in my hand. I'll put away the toilet paper roll myself.
No, but something like this comes up a lot for people. No, I'm just gonna. Something comes up for a lot of times would be stupid stuff like the dishes on the counter. The guy's not putting the dishes away or something, right? My wife, guys will say, my wife's always nagging me with that. I'm like, well, first of all, it's not nagging. She's holding you accountable for putting your own fucking dish away. Okay. Second of all, if that really is a point of contention, then you can ask your partner to help you with the dishes. Right? Or be involved is a better word. We're really switching that because people get confused with the whole help thing. But Lauren says, I like the concepts that you guys recommend, and I'm always working towards a better version of myself. Do you have you ever found time with the growth between two people is so different that being together is not healthy? I want to grow together with my spouse, but he has demonstrated zero interest in growing. So yeah, absolutely. It's grow or die, right? If you're a grower, you're a shower. And I don't mean you have to talk about it. You're literally just leading with all your new skills, everything that you do in life, everything. Let's just say you decided to pick up a musical instrument. So if you're doing that and he wants to just keep the video games louder or the TV remote, he's turning it louder all the time because you're too loud. Well, you're branching off into a different space with your brain right now. So now pick that up into something appropriate, like learning to save your marriage. But what we have found, I know how you feel because it's frustrating, and we've had
People
to
come to us with that mentality, but they come out on the other side of our program with a different mentality.
Yeah, because what we have found is like most of the time growers, what we do is we end up throwing it in our partner's face with the defensive traits, right? Remember we talk about skills all the time. So if you're trying to communicate, but you're actually just coming across like pushy, you're dragging your partner, it's actually not your responsibility to make them grow. It's to inspire them to grow with you. You're already a leader. So if you're trying to learn every day, read new books, take new courses, whatever that is, right? Then you are a leader. If they're not doing anything, they have zero interest, then it's your job to lead. We have a bit of a different version of that in our programs, the way we do it. A lot of women come to Catherine and their husbands have zero interest. So Lauren, I encourage you to just continue to learn. And it's like this: if you become a 10, and I mean like in everything, so how you react and stuff to his negativity about your growing and things like that. Yeah, for example, I'll use an easy one. Somebody might try to lose weight, and we saw this when we owned our gym. We saw this specifically a lot of times. And what would happen is, she would be
Sorry, I'm trying to see who this is. Someone says loving the beard, but you've literally always had a beard.
Oh, but it's a little bit longer right now.
Laird Oil.
Oh, hey,
Found
Blair.
him. Found him. He likes your beard.
So yeah.
Thank God you're a man, Blair. I was going to come through the screen.
Blair's
was
cool.
not.
Blair's cool.
Yeah.
So,
but did everybody get the warning?
I strongly recommend you heed.
Do
all right.
Compliment my husband's beard. That's my beard.
Hey, let me.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
So if
by the way, this is just club soda.
If she is losing weight and he's eating Cheetos and he's being derogatory, Lauren, it's your responsibility in that growth pattern right there to include the growth where you would just act responsibly. You're not going to whine and complain and fight back, because then you're not being an adult. He's the one who's acting like a toddler in that case. He's being rude, ignorant, throwing out stupid emotions, probably projecting shame for being lazy. In just this one example, he could be feeling shame for being lazy. He could feel guilt for not continuing to work out and supporting you. He could feel like all kinds of emotions that he's just projecting with one stupid comment. So your job is to show up how you think you should react properly. This is when you have all of this sort of stuff in place, then somebody will want to follow you, right? It's pretty hard to be friendly, cute, fun, bubbly, flirty, learning, super attractive, doing whatever, learning and presenting all this, and have somebody be like, yeah, damn, you're a fucking 12, but I'm just going to sit around and do fuck all. Like, it's really uncommon, you guys. And this goes both ways, okay? All right, this damn icon.
That logo thing gets in the way every time.
Yeah, I always forget to change it. My spouse tends to shit. Sorry, I can't read it.
Yeah, can you make it go over there?
I can't remember how we do. Here we go. Okay. My spouse tends to watch and read and share many, many things, but does not implement. That's a different problem. He goes from one topic to the next and the next without full absorption or implementation. I used to try it and watch everything he shared, but it's so much and it's overwhelming. This is another huge problem and why we created programs. What we found was every time we learn something, it sometimes contradicts something else you learned, even though you're picking good stuff out of the new thing, or you're so far ahead that you haven't learned that again. So common thing that I learned from a number of the coaches that I've worked with is like read a book at least 10 times. So I usually say 12. I have a book right now that whenever I drive, I continue to read it and read it and read it. And I still pull out things that, like, it was a book that I found like, I don't know, 65% of my journey. And I still pull out things today when I was going for a drive, dropping the kids off to daycare, so it's that important. And so the commitment level sometimes is you overwhelm yourself and take on too much. You're better off even if you don't work with us, is to at least implement the good stuff that you learned from whatever you learned and make sure you retain it and use it. But make sure you maybe plan like your path. Like, I have a rejection ladder in my program so guys can easily see where they're at. Like, there's no sense in going all the way up to sex if you don't even have a mood in your home and morale in your home. Energy is what I call it. But so focus on that skill first. Good example for communication is most people are fighting about the symptoms and not the issue, not the actual problem. And then you don't use the skills to prevent your defensiveness, let's say, right? And so your husband might be like that. That's great. But this is a hard mentality to break when you have, he's not going to listen to you saying you're not implementing all this other stuff and you're trying to keep up. And it's like, that's where a program can come into place and make things easier for you. also that would tie into the commitment stuff that we talked about earlier. You can be super committed, but if you're disorganized, you lack structure, it's not step by step, the skills aren't stacking on top of each other the way that they're meant, like the way that you need to implement, then you're probably not going to be getting any benefit either. Okay.
I don't know how to turn the volume. I want to see all these comments and who all these people are.
Is there a way to make that quiet, please, Sonia?
I did. I'm trying.
I wrote on your wall that, oh, damn it, I lost it. Fuck.
The moment, it was like something like the moment I wrote on your wall was the moment that things changed or something.
Oh, maybe you mean like you wrote a post or a comment or something like that, and then he got interested or she got interested.
I think it was something like that.
That's cool. Oh, by the way, guys, I am
this button right there.
I am being completely blocked. Oh yeah, right on. I'm being completely blocked from posting comments. Every comment I write says I'm spam now. So sorry, I would be responding more, but unfortunately, Facebook, you know how they like to fuck with me. All right, I'm struggling with wanting to. Oh man, oh here it is. With wanting to stay in my marriage. My husband believes that since I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3. Oh, congratulations! Just had the 3rd baby. We should be. Fuck, it's disappearing. Guys are coming.
You just have to take your mouse off it, honey. It's right there.
Oh,
babe.
you can start.
Just no, it's not disappearing, honey. Look.
Oh,
watch this. Watch this. You wrote, but if you put the cursor on it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so get the cursor off it.
Okay, thank you. Just had a baby last week. Okay, and you're jumping back into your house chores because he says there's no way labor was that bad. Okay, so he's being a bit of a jerk, that's for sure. He doesn't want to be disturbed, and I think it can be easy for some women. We had a friend, remember Renee? Like I think she was just like, whoop, done, no problem. Like, but obviously you're not feeling the same way, right? He's got his drinking, his porn addiction, no help with the children. So this is exactly why I create what I create. When I see stuff like this, like it sickens me. Like it's such a sense of entitlement. And my first reaction is to like do the normal, right? So tell him to pick him after himself. Just cut him off, do whatever. But see, the thing is, if you're not communicating in a way where he understands, like reaching him, which is what that's the like. I think it's like the first thing you do to knock down a husband's wall in your program, right?
Try to reach him.
Yeah, like or make him like the idea is within 2 weeks they sort of they
I would say it depends what you're referring to. I need to hear more.
I'm just trying to think about the way I've heard you describe it. I think, but it's she wasn't talking to me. It was like if it feels like they dropped their they soften. You say they soften.
They soften because
weeks,
of the difference in reactions and communication that you end up
presenting. Right. So what happens is even if this is man or woman, even if you are trying to ask for help or trying to say what hurts, you are doing everything to control your tone. There's words, you could say every word correctly, but if your tone is off, your face is off. Like I have a resting sneer face. It's my confused, it's my angry, it's my frustrated, it's my like I'm just thinking about something for a second. I just need a minute, whatever. It's the same resting sneer face. And so it gets confusing. And when you guys have been triggered for a while, even if, I mean, you're making logical sense. This stuff that like should not be happening in today's time. You just had a baby and he's telling you he's drinking, he's doing porn, he's telling you that you labor, he's just condescending. Like I hate shit like that. But we also lived where we condescended, patronized, demanded. We have to change some different patterns typically there, Lindsay. So you might have to reach out to Catherine if your husband is that far checked out. Guys, that's one of the things.
And he might not. Let's give him a chance for a second. He might not be checked out. He just doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yeah,
I think our girls were about 6 weeks old when our girls, twin girls, C-section, when my beautiful husband here complained about not having dinner made at nighttime. So you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't trying to be vindictive. He just felt lost. He felt unloved. And I know this now. I didn't know that then, but he felt underappreciated. He felt a lot of things and I didn't know how to deal with it. And him complaining about me not making dinner was just the fruit on the tree. It was not the root of the problem.
Yeah, the root for me was just knowing that we hadn't been connecting for so long. We hadn't been.
The babies were more important than he was.
Yeah,
and we didn't have conversations about it, and we didn't have a good marriage when the babies were born. So, I mean, it was starting to get back there, but we had a lot of backsliding.
Well, the only thing, we always talk about that, but like the reality is that we were just fighting a little less. We could still fight hard. The fights wouldn't last as long. The anger, a lot of it was more controlled. But it was like, this was just a precursor. It's why I can say with so much conviction that you need to have the right skills implementing and stacking, because otherwise it just fucking drags on for so long before you actually make progress.
And it's a really good example of you having a baby last week and your husband not showing any compassion to you. You guys are just completely disconnected. He feels it doesn't. I'm not trying to justify the way that he's acting because it's not justified, but he feels unloved. He feels lost. He feels disconnected from you, and it's not going to be easy getting reconnected and helping him feel loved and respected and validated. That's not easy. Don't get me wrong, but that's where you're at right now.
Okay, guys, we only have about 50 minutes left because we're committed here. But I want to address something really. This comes up all the time with my men, and I'm seeing a woman say it. I don't know if Catherine gets this too, but it's along the lines of staying with Lauren saying it again. This like along the lines of staying with your spouse, but you're worried about the example you're setting for your children. Listen, you only have one responsibility, and that is to be the reflection in the mirror that you want to be. So it's not about and you're presenting it, I think, if I'm interpreting correctly, Lauren, is just like my men would say is, I don't want my little boy to see me being walked on. I don't want him to learn those kinds of things, or the way she's treating me is acceptable to be treated like as a man or a leader or blah, blah, blah. And my answer is always the same. Well, dude, you're not leading. There's no respect. And so you need to be showing up in a way. Your kids will see the difference. If your wife is always just screaming at you and you are in control of your emotions, being polite, courteous, understanding what her feelings are, doing everything you're supposed to do and showing up with integrity and actually following through, your kids will see the difference. You will also be in a position when you've been doing longly, that's a combination of long enough and usually I know the other word.
Only?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
Lonely?
only when it's been long enough. And so maybe. So the point is simple.
You were probably thinking about longingly looking at me later.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it was, longly.
You got that right. So yeah, you've got to focus on that too. You will set the right example if you show up, because long enough into this journey, which I mean, I say it's like 60 days, 30 to 60 days for you to be to comfortably say you're the new you when we do these assessments and we use scorecards and blah, blah, blah. Then of course, you once you've been doing that, you're now in a position where you can say you're leading, right? Because you've been inspiring long enough. Now there's a patience formula that I use, and I talked about it a little bit last week, I think, but it's simple, guys. The length of time you've been married times the amount of trauma you've had and how you deal with that will tie into that, less the tolerance that you have for the way that they're treating you, the abuse that they're giving you, the whatever. But keep in mind, in that trauma part of the equation, you are a massive part of that, right? So if you enabled Lindsay, for example, with your husband, who's Lindsay's the one who had the baby that we talked about earlier. If you've enabled that behavior for him to sit down and do nothing for years and years and years and years, he feels entitled to that. You are partly responsible for that. But now you can show up and lead.
Doesn't mean it's okay.
No, it doesn't.
But it does mean that there's some responsibility there.
Yeah, and this is
not okay, but there is responsibility.
And this is why we say we take just our side. We show up as who we want to be. That's it. And so somebody said, I'm new here. What do you suggest I start? Well, you can go through all the content. We got all these lives are on YouTube in the live section. And of course, if you just want to fast track it, just hit our site. We literally do everything different. We're taking the world by storm because it's so different and dramatically different. And your marriage almost always is not as bad as ours was, I should say. And so that's all. Just book a call and we'll rock and roll. Men pick the Marriage Reset. Women pick the White Picket Fence Project. Okay. Can you share an event or situation made you commit to your journey? Okay, so there's two for me. So the first one was anger. So believe it or not, it was not prophecies laid on us that we were going to heal couples. We actually thought that was crazy. We're going to kill each other. Like, it made no sense. Believe it or not, it was not a restraining order against me in a year of probation. Believe it or not, it was one simple comment. And Catherine said to me, I was excited because I only knew fighting every single day. I shit you not, every single day of my life for 37 years. I guess it was a little bit less than 37 at this point. It was only a couple years into our marriage. Yeah. So basically, I was so excited. I was like, baby, we're fighting every 3 days. This is really cool. And she just looked at me point blank and was like,
that's not normal.
And so this is when I realized.
I'll never forget.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
I think it was more like this isn't normal. I think that's what I said.
I don't know.
That was back before I didn't know how to be contemptuous.
All I know is that I learned at that moment. I was reminded by a childhood memory of making fun of a kid who didn't know how to wash dishes at, I think, 10 or 12. And it's because I had a stool at 4 years old washing dishes. And, and so I remember somebody telling me at that point, and it reflected back in this comment from Catherine, which was, you don't know what you don't know. And so I started to learn everything I could about emotions and anger and controlling it. I mean, I'd already done some things like anger management from the probation and stuff like that, court mandated. And I mean, none of that was really what was working for me. So I started looking, researching, understanding emotions, and started to figure out my own processes. And at the time, I couldn't tell you that I was actually really doing that. I was chased. This is why, if you've ever wondered, if you watch your lives, why I say chase the feeling you want, chase the direction you're going. It's because I don't want you chasing insecurity. It's a monster. I do not want you chasing anger. It's a beast. If you can chase the feeling that you want, this is why I say it that way. That's how I started. The second pivotal moment was when Catherine said, I'm not in love, I'm not attracted, I'm settling, and honor my commitment and my oath under God. And that devastated me. I was mad for 3 days. And then I was like, yeah, I really need to get to work. And so, yeah, there's so many different things, though, to be perfectly honest. What really, I think what made us both commit is we deep down inside always knew that there was a reason that we fell in love, and we both honored that commitment. And so neither of us were happy. At different points of our journey, we both had different, and it happened up and down a lot. That's why we do what we do and make it easy for you guys. But at different points, you're in, you're kind of out, you're in, you're out. And at some point, you have to just realize if you're not doing everything and trying as hard as you can by learning everything you can in the shortest amount of time possible, all you're doing is delaying the hard shit and making more of it compound, because you're great. You had a great conversation. Never notice how you guys get along great for a week or a month. It's been 3 months. And then all of a sudden it's just like, holy shit, it's back to the way it was. Yeah, because you have to practice those skills real time, all the time, until they're not hard because they're skills, right? What's the best way to respectfully talk? Oh, respectfully invite your spouse to talk to you. So in my program, it's individually based off, like we talk about it on the coaching calls, where the man's at, where his wife's at, when we would even introduce the program. Programs run independently so that you can focus on you, because that's the only thing you can control, right? Back to that person that's happy about what they see in their mirror, the reflection. Okay. What's the time limit there, baby?
51.
51. Okay. Okay. So am I scrolling the wrong way here?
You are. I love you anyway, though.
Oh, you're so good to me. You know, guys, I'm so good at so much tech, and this thing here, whew, if you do live streams, please DM my personal profile and help me.
Yeah, right. Like we're not just going live. He has this whole software. Like if you could see what I see, there's all these things going on. It's not just Facebook Live. It's like, it's live I don't even know. All
right. So my thoughts, Shannon says, I think she's replying to.
Yeah, she has a question though.
Oh, okay.
It is a question.
Okay. Okay. So what are your thoughts on stay-at-home women feeling like their men don't value their work contributions, meaning the value in his mind is not equal to the financial contributions? He gives time for a paycheck and she gives time to build a home. I think it's absolute fucking garbage. I bet you I outwork your husband 2 to 1. I bet you that I make more money. And I bet you that I do that by working less than you think, because I know where I can put my time, i.e. we're in all these different courses right now, right? And so, and I still probably out-contribute, apparently, for the home, for sure, for a lot of dads. Now, I had to learn this stuff, guys. Don't get me wrong. This is why I speak so strongly. Every bit of my content pretty much is a mistake that I made. And the only time it isn't, and it always is a spin of mine. If I see something, which is very uncommon, I don't go on social media, but if I see something I like, it pops up when I'm going to post, and I'm like, damn, that's good. That reminds me of, and I'll put my spin on it because I want it to be the mistakes that I made. And so, I'll be posting exactly on that tomorrow. And the guys, what they do here is they're like, this is the kind of man that goes and helps out and looks for approval, looks for validation, looks for sex as a reward, just if he helps out. But otherwise, he's just so entitled to your body because he brings a paycheck home. Listen, money makes the world go round, but it doesn't make desire spin out of control. It's great, makes dates fun, it gives some security. But if you know my views on security and safety, that's financial security is the first thing we list, but there's a whole bunch more security and safety that comes in as safety, right? And so that's why I always joke.
The contribution issue. So aside from what you're mentioning.
Oh, so yeah, he should be contributing.
No. When he doesn't think that she's contributing. So it has nothing to do with him contributing. He thinks he's better than she is because he is bringing in a paycheck and she's taking care of the home. But he thinks it's better. What do you say to that?
It's not better.
I'm here all day, ladies and gentlemen.
She translates for me a lot.
Yeah.
It's not better. you're responsible to be an adult. My absolute thought on this is quite simple. If you left him tomorrow, he's still got to pay. He's still going to have to parent, and he better clean up his house, or else it's not going to look so good for the social services when they come get the kids and take the kids away. Like, and he still won't get sex. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous to me how the mentality is of money is better than taking care of the home, and how you should not be involved in the home. Like, I can't even grasp the concept. All right. All right, so we got Debbie talking about 30-year marriage, and the eldest son was killed in action. I'm terribly sorry. And yeah, quite often it's something massive like that. This would be an example of the issue that and then all the fights, the cheating you're talking about, the lying, the depression, whatever coping mechanisms and stuff like that. Those are when we're talking about addressing symptoms like we talked about earlier. So if you missed that, go check that out. But yeah, you've got a major issue there that you guys have to probably address, and then you can start to attack some of these symptoms. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, sorry, we're just not able to make it all the time now with so much going on. We're really doing our best. That's why we hopped on 10 minutes early today. And also every now and then we have client in crisis, and
she's just saying the positive. She's like excited to see us.
Yeah. So but I want to let other people to know, because I say we're going to be live every week, and we do our best. Can you give me a time check, please, honey?
55.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So Michael, whenever that sort of happens, he's talking about like having to, mostly I'm just going to pull out what's really important here. You're talking about fixing your life, fixing you, and chasing the right questions. All this, mostly that I'm assuming that's going to be your insecurities, dude. And you have to always, look at it like, it doesn't matter if she's talking to somebody else. This is both ways, guys. It doesn't matter if they're talking to someone else, if they're getting that emotional connection, that's what they're looking for. Or they're getting that emotional connection, even adding the physical touch to that, then that you still have to look at, why aren't they looking at you? Why aren't they getting emotionally filled their bucket from you? And I think betrayal is betrayal. It sucks. And we don't condone cheating, but we just take a serious standpoint that the morals are the second issue. So I love that you're talking about fixing you, saving your marriage. I'm going to say save your marriage, not fix it, because that's one that can go away, especially when you start reciprocating. Like, guys, I know a lot of my content talks about sex, but you can't have it if you're not emotionally connected starting at the bottom, right? Like, so if you're filling each other's buckets, if you're meeting each other's needs, if you don't have to ask all the time, and you will ask and you should still ask, but on a whole, the more you get to know each other and the more you just naturally do things. We joked the other day about how I teased Catherine because I was talking about something, I don't know, work and schedule or something, with all the courses and stuff going on. And she said, I know, and I'm about to start my master's. And I joked, I teased her, and I was like,
that was actually really funny.
That was a really good validation of my feelings, honey. And we laughed, and she said something, not in a defensive way, which I probably would have taken as a defensive way years ago. But it was like, I just thought my relating to you I was relating to you, babe, because I know exactly how you feel, with a big smile on her face. And we were laughing, see the difference, but the conversation would have gone in our past. And
you think your master's is better than my course?
Yeah.
To which I would have replied, obviously it's a master's degree, but we didn't go down that path.
Yeah, and it would have been angry, swearing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it would have been World War III, but it was just literally like I'm feeling the heaviness too. We have a lot on the go right now. We're learning a lot. We're coaching a lot. Mm-hmm. So I was just trying to be like, yeah.
Excuse me. So that's the difference when you have the skills and it starts to become more natural. So Michael, I'd encourage you to reach out, and we can go over what you are doing and what I do that's going to be way different and way more complete and faster. You can also just watch more lives and things like that as well.
8:58.
Okay, we're just about to be done here, guys.
Yeah, so let's give everybody a call to action here, because there's still lots of questions.
Will I be able to watch this back later? No, this is done here. Yes.
There was a couple questions that you skipped over.
Oh, so you're going to have to go to YouTube is the easiest way to watch this back, unless you're on Facebook and it's current, because otherwise it just drops down the feed on the page.
You can go to my Facebook, because I don't post that much.
Right. Or subscribe to YouTube and follow her page so that we pick up more, because our Facebook page, Ryan Cast Morals, is the only one that's boom, 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 boom. Right. Mm-hmm. All right.
What is it doing? What is your Facebook page doing?
Boom, 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 boom.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. One more thing here for Michael, because we were just finishing up there. Just doesn't talk, and I talk myself stupid and have to approach, yeah. And I'm all about actions. Less talk, more action. There will be a time to talk, but first we got to show up, dude. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We should have no problem seeing you next week. But right now, we're going to run, and we'll see you guys then. If you have any other questions, guys, ryancastmorrow.com. It'll come up as Cass and Catherine, and then men can book with me, women can book with Catherine, and we will just go get your life. All right? All right, guys.